Quincy Company is one of 30 that will get a chunk of at least $13 million to help expand the Illinois Works pre-apprentice program. The announcement came from Governor J.B. Pritzker and the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. The program will serve up to 1,400 pre-apprentices, which is a 40% increase from last year. Impact Global Incorporated in Quincy is one of the grantees. They are set to receive about $400,000. The program started in 2021 to increase access to apprenticeship programs.